everybody, welcome back. So today I'm going to start working on paint. This is my stripping tank, and this machine has actually been overnight, so I don't know if you can see, lots of steam coming out. Below the tank I have a big rubber tote, and I'm going to go ahead and plug in the exhaust fan, because I don't like the smell of this stuff. So this is my accessories. Let that come down here. And the machine itself. Make sure all this stuff drips out. Okay, so let me unplug the heater, put it back on, and this, we're going to go over to the sink. Okay, so first I'm going to put the machine in here. Pull off this wire. And I need to rinse her off. Okay, so I just took a bunch of footage with my head camera, and I'm not sure how that turned out, so this might be the first you see of it, but if so, welcome. Today I'm going to work on making this machine beautiful. So hopefully you saw I pulled her out of my stripping tank and how hot and steamy she was, and then rinsed her off, blew her dry, and then came over with the heat gun and dried her off with the heat gun. Now this is the faceplate, and you can see it's got surface rust on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and dunk this into some evapo-rust and just let that marinate. And since I'm putting that in there, honestly, it can't hurt to go ahead and put everything in. So she's stripped and everything, but just to be on the safe side, to get the any existing rust off before I start to paint, because we don't want that to come back. But I wanted to show you, if you can see, where she was like refinished and touched up and everything and polished up. They did some really nice machining work on her. One of the things I do want to try to do before I put her in my evapo-rust tank is see one more time if I can get this nut off back here. So give me a second to get myself organized. And the vice scripts did it. So here we go. Here is a very cool conical shaped nut. Please come off. Yeah. Okay, so the wheel is off now. So now I can deal with this separately. So even though I don't really see much rust in here, just a tiny little bit right there, I'm going to go ahead and put this, the other pieces, and the machine into my dip tank of evapo-rust. Probably leave her in there the rest of the day. Honestly, it's a very cold, wet, nasty day out, so probably not the best for playing with metal anyway. So let me go ahead and get that put in, and then tomorrow is when we'll start to paint. Okay, so this is her in my tank. She was a little bit long. That very back part of her bed was sticking out, so if you can see, I just have a shop towel over it to keep it damp also. It's just a little bit, and that part really didn't have any rust, but we don't want it to have any issues. You know, the other things are just kind of hanging out in here. So we can close her up and call it good. And I'm just going to spend a couple hours here cleaning parts. Lots of parts to clean. You don't need to see that. You've seen it before. But if anything interesting comes up as I'm working, I will turn the camera back on and show you. Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back. So she sat in the evapo-rust overnight, and I have pulled her out. And I've decided I'm not going to pull that fork out. I was debating on that earlier. Move you so you can see each other here. She's totally clean at this point. What I wanted to show you is, well, first of all, when I pulled her out of the evapo-rust, I dried her off. I took an air gun and blew her out. And that's important to me because I want to make sure I blow out all of the little holes, because sometimes that liquid can just sit in there, and when you're painting, it can come out and just screw up your paint later. So, you know, got that rinsed off, dried off. Back here in the back, I started to do this off camera, but I decided I was going to turn it on for you. This had a mounting bracket at one point with pins that could mount into a treadle cabinet, and it was broken off at some point. And this was really, really sharp. And so what I've got is just the little sanding, hardcore sanding wheel, grinder wheel, whatever, on the end of my Dremel. And I'm not trying to reform everything, but I'm trying to make it smooth, because there are some really jagged edges here. So just kind of... Okay, I think that's good. Before my glove is shot. Before it was so jagged it would actually cut into you right down there. So I think that that is good. My plan at this point is I got all of my pieces out, and I'm going to show you. Remember there was that rust that was up in the nose plate and in here. That's a piece of a Q-tip there. I need to blow my lint off of here. But you can see the evapo-rust totally gets rid of all of that rust, which is what I want. So I'm going to blow all my lint off from, using my rags and Q-tips, and set this thing into my paint booth because it's very hot in there. I have a special heater just for inside of there, and just let this sit probably for the rest of the day in there, and that's going to help every other little bit of liquid that's in this machine and the pores and everything to evaporate out before I start painting her. I will need to come back and do all of the masking that I need to, but let's see here. This machine is going to be a color morph machine. And so what that means is she's going to get a primer coat, and then a black coat goes over that. We're going to use a gloss black over it. And then on top of that, a color shift paint goes on top of that. So it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. So, but for right now, I'm thinking that's going to be tomorrow, just because I really want this to set. Before I actually put her in there, I've got this little sanding sponge, and I'm just going to come back. It's like a 3000 grit, so it's pretty lightweight. And just go over the edge just to make sure I get everything off and that she's nice and ready for masking and primer. So I just really wanted to show you that. Okay, so as you can see, the machine looks very different than last time, and it's extremely cold here, and a lot of what I did here, I was experimenting, so I didn't want to turn the camera on. But as you can see, she's looking good. I still have to clear coat her. I just put the decals on, and I'm going to let them dry in here where it's nice and warm overnight, and then I'll clear coat her tomorrow using my finish one. That can's almost empty. I need to start a new one. But as you can see, they're holographic decals. And I'm going to do a separate video on these decals, or how I make them, in a different, oops, she rocks back and forth, in a different video, because it's a little bit different. But basically what it is, as you know, I print my own decals on clear waterslide decal paper. Okay, but once you have it printed in black, if you get toner activated foil, and you can get that, wherever, then if you put the toner activated foil on top of your black printed decals, under a couple pieces of paper, inside of a paper folder, and run it through a laminator, it will foil only the part that has the toner on it, which is very cool. So this machine originally had like a daisy type flower, and I couldn't replicate it. I couldn't, create the exact curve and the pinstriping and stuff. But I think we have an homage to what she originally was. And the owner has nicknamed this machine Firefly. And so back here we have a little Victorian Firefly, which is kind of fun. So anyway, I'm going to let her sit. I will come back tomorrow and clear coat her. I have my paint in the booth here just so it can get to the same warm temperature as the metal of the machine. So when I go to paint, everything will be happy. But I just wanted to show you that. And yes, I'll do a demo on how I do this in another video. Sorry, I skipped ahead so much. And so, oh, remember this is where the stitch length goes. So we have the little arrow in the same font as the name up here for making the stitch length longer and making the stitch length shorter. So I think it's really cool. Anyway, hope you like that, and I will be back in a couple days. Okay, I just got her clear coat on. Took a couple coats on the machine, but I want to show you that the clear coat is very protective. It's very thick. And I am going to leave her in here so that this clear coat can completely dry and cure before I start to put her back together. Because the last thing I want is to put a fingerprint in here. But I think she's looking gorgeous. So next time I see you, we're going to have her unmasked and start getting her back together again.